Hey everyone, welcome back to Automation for the first time this year, actually, which is crazy to think about. I have not made an automation video in like 3 weeks, pretty much a month, I guess. It's been a while since I've played this game, but I'm excited to get back into it. You might hear a little bit of echo in the background, and I apologize for that. I'm in my new office finally, which is in my basement, but I don't have my sound stuff up on the wall yet, and I might not because we are planning to move relatively soon, so yeah, I don't know. The echo is temporary, though. I will fix it. So I want to continue my series that I started earlier this month. I was playing Drift CE, trying to learn how to drift. We're going to make a drift car in Automation, and then we're going to take it to BeamNG and try to get it drifting. I was actually just going to do a straight BeamNG drift video today, but my sim rig is not set up yet. So hopefully by the time I have that set up, we can do another real drifting video on the sim rig, and you can see what I'm looking like as well during that. It's going to be a lot of fun. But until then, I need to have some cars to drift with, and this is going to be one of those. Don't get me wrong, we're still going to test it out in-game today, but let's just try to make it semi-realistic here. So it's just going to be steel and a front longitudinal 370Z. I thought this was a 350, but it's a 370Z. Not a problem, though. I like those cars a lot. So as we're making a 370Z, the obvious engine choice is a 3.7 liter V6, 60-degree V6 specifically, like the VQs, but I mean, why not do something different, make it a little bit more interesting? I think my engine in Drift CE was a V8, if I remember correctly. You can actually see the car in the background over there. Hello. But I think this time we're going to change it up a little bit. How does a Viper engine sound? Let's make a 6.3 liter, 6.4 liter V10. A billet aluminum block as well. I'm not actually going to base this completely off the Viper engine. I'm just going to do it how I want to, and we'll just kind of see what it turns out as. It doesn't need to make a ridiculous amount of power. In fact, I'm not even going to turbo it. So I ran through and I gave this engine the best toppings. Well, maybe not the best, but it has some really good stuff, as you can see here. Skipping turbos, who cares? But basically, if you look at the fuel system, E85, race intake, direct injection, all the normal stuff that you would expect, and it looks pretty darn mint with those headers on there too. That is a knot if I've ever seen one. This thing, just out of the box, makes 452 horsepower, untuned. If we hit it with just an AI tune to get us started, we are making 600 horsepower. That's pretty much exactly what I was after. I was thinking 600 is probably good, and that puts us well into Viper territory. I'm happy with this. I think it's going to be a good engine. A couple small tweaks, and we're at 612.5 with 632.3 Newton meters of torque. That is not even close to what this thing can actually take, but I think it's going to be perfect. That's at 7,800 RPM, which is quite a high rev range for a pushrod engine. I probably shouldn't have made this so strange like that. It's it's a big bore pushrod engine. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but it doesn't matter. It makes good power. Let's put it in the car. So for our 370, we have three options. We have a hard top that is removable, soft top, and the coupe version. I'm going coupe. That's more my style anyways. If I was going to get one of these cars, which I definitely would want to, maybe in the future, I would definitely get this sort of style coupe. I've actually been thinking about the future quite a lot lately. Obviously we're moving, so we have a lot to think about in that way, trying to plan out where we want to go. Location is super important and stuff, but I've been thinking about cars as well because I'm me. And I'm thinking about what I want to do in the near future. Most of you know I have a Tibron. I also have a truck. And depending on where we move, the truck is kind of going to become a little obsolete, especially if we don't have any property. So I'm probably going to get rid of it in the next 5 years or so. Maybe less than that, depending on the timing of things. And when I do, I have a ton of options for things I want to replace it with. I was thinking about just buying a brand new Civic Si as an example. That just seems like a lot of fun. I was also thinking of going back to my roots and maybe trying to find an Infinity Coupe or something with two doors. I don't know. I just want two doors. Obviously, I have my Tibron still, and I have some very excellent and awful plans for that car, which you will find out soon. But actually, maybe not so soon because I have to move the thing, and I can't have it disabled. I want to pull the engine and swap it with something a little bit more unique. I just heard some sirens in the background. Apparently, the police caught wind of my terrible ideas. So I could probably make this car into the Brazilian flag, but that's not really what I was going for here with the green and the yellow. I just thought it looked cool. The two-tone stuff on this thing is really cool, but we might have to just come back to that. This is matte black. It was carbon, but it's looking a little bit better matte black, so I'm keeping it. Until then, though, we got to get to the design first before I really set the colors. And I'm going to skip right past design because we need rear-wheel drive, we need manual, 5-speed. Oh, this is tough, actually. What kind of diff do we want? Probably a manual locker so we can lock it if we want to. I'm not sure what makes the most sense for drift in this case. Like, we definitely want both wheels spinning so we can lock them together. I know a lot of people will weld the diff or something like that in order to get by with like a janky version of the limited slip. Skipping over to the wheels, now this is super important as well because we don't want tires that are too grippy. They still need to be able to spin. I mean, we have 600 horsepower, we should be able to spin pretty much anything, but like full drag tires, is that too much grip? It honestly might be. I'm going to try the hard drag tires or hard race tires and we'll see what that does. Hopefully that's enough grip to like be able to handle, but not too much grip that it breaks the entire car and that I can't get the wheels to spin. I think I'm going to be fine, but you never really know. What I'm going to do as well is I'm going to unlock the back and the front wheels so we can make the fronts larger than the backs, at least by the rim size, just because I think that's cool. One of the quirks of drift cars is they always have these like crappy wheels on the back just because they're burning rims all the time. So let's do it. 17s on the back, 21s on the front. That's some drift spec stuff right there. I'm going to take a chance that I'm going to max out the wheel size. I realize this is turning out more like a drag car than a drift car, but we'll see if I can spin 295s. If I can't, I'll come back and I'll shrink them. But it just looks so good, I can't resist. Okay, so the reason I came all the way over here is basically just so that I can do some suspension tweaks because I want to make the car look a certain way, and in order to do that we're going to have to do some camber mods and stuff. I have it on a full race preset right now, but obviously the camber is it's just not enough, so I'm going to have to go more negative until it won't let me go negative anymore, which apparently is quite a lot sooner than I thought. That is absolutely wicked though. Oh my goodness. It's looking good, honestly. It's looking real good. Okay, back to the design. I know I have a problem because these are rotiform wheels again. That's just my thing at this point. I am constantly using these wheels. This is a mod body and it has a ton of movable options, which is just really cool. By the way, I get all my mods from the Steam Workshop. People ask me that constantly, but literally, Steam Workshop. I just go and I download all the newest stuff. One of the things you can do is just make it ridiculously thick at the rear, but I'm going to make it thinner on purpose here. Just have it thin and decent. And on this front, I think we could probably go a little thinner as well. I had it at its thickest point. Full thickness. Now let's get to designing the actual car. Now there are a lot of options in this game of things I can do, including having full-on rally lights, which is ridiculous, and also really, really cool, and I'm going to have to use these at some point for a build. So as you can probably tell, I'm not really concerned about aping the 370Z styling, especially a couple components here might give that away, but I'm just going to do my own thing, very, very roughly based off the 370. I have a picture of it here for reference. I'm going to try to get the grille close-ish, but not the lights. So here's a fun thing you can do these days, even if it doesn't make a lot of sense. Go into the advanced trim, engine, and engine scale. Yes, please. So basically, you can control the size of the engine, because if you go by default, it's pretty small in there, 0, like that. It just looks weak. So we're going up in the sizes, full scale. Okay, that's too much. I think 0.4 is probably as big as I can get it. Maybe a little bit more than that, 0.5 or 6, before it just gets into toy level territory, but I want it to look huge in there. So I have a bit of a tendency to over-design the absolute heck out of the front end of a car and then basically do nothing on the back, or maybe the other way around. This one is turning out to be just like bad in all directions, but I'm gonna save it because we need to do a livery as well. We definitely need some decals and stuff. I think it's going to look good in the end, but I know it looks kind of sparse up here. It's a little rough, but I'm working on it. Okay, so this is my version of the 370, although I've kind of screwed it up in some areas apparently. Locking fixtures is important. I don't do it very often, but anyways. So we have a bit of an interesting rear, mostly because these taillights don't want to go where I want them to go. They're extremely picky, but they work at least a little bit. We have basically 3 rear wings, 1, 2, and 3. That's a lot of downforce. Also this big splitter right here, which I forgot to color. Everything else is looking pretty mint, but we definitely need a livery, so let me slap one on quick. I mean, this is just proof that I suck at liveries, but basically what we have here is a car that's finished for now. I can always come back and change it, always make it better. That's the beauty of iteration, at least in this game. It definitely needs some kind of like decal on the side of it, but I just haven't really figured out what I want to do for that yet. Like, we have symbols and lots of things like that, but if I really want to make something, I either have to import a custom piece or try to sketch it out with lines and stuff, like using various objects for that. It's more difficult than it should be in this game, but that's where we are. Like, I could probably put something like this on it, but I don't really know what this symbol is, and I'm scared. That's cool, though. What I need is like a pre-made like tribal tattoo, basically. I want to slap one of those on every car. So something that I kind of neglected to do previously was adjust the gearing, because gearing is extremely important for this, but thankfully, even if I screw this up, we can adjust it to beamng, so it's not the end of the world. This car is going to be absolutely bananas in beamng. I'm very excited to try it, so let me give it some names and we'll set this thing off and see how it does. Alright, so here is the car in beamng. We're at the automation handling circuit, just because I think it's really cool and it's a good place to test stuff out. This car doesn't actually have ESC, but it seems to think it does, which is awkward. We do have the ability to lock the rear diff, which is really cool. The car actually turned out good. I basically did some settings in the exporter where it groups all of the fixtures together and all this kind of stuff, so hopefully it won't fly away when I do stuff with it. But let's try it out and see how it drives. Oh my goodness, okay, we are definitely not going to have any issues getting wheel spin out of this. Being able to drift is an entirely different story, because naturally I suck, so it's going to take some effort to figure this part out. I'm going to lock the rear diff, which means our rear wheels are going to be spinning at the same rate. Obviously first gear, oh geez, I forgot. I keep forgetting you have to hold down the button a little bit longer these days. It's a weird thing. People keep saying it's a feature, but I'm not so sure. Oh, yikes, I absolutely need help. Okay, so if we tap the handbrake and just kind of give it a little bit of throttle, it ends up being too much throttle, and I overdo it and just fly into a guardrail. Oh, man. See, what's a good drift car without a little bit of damage on it, you know what I'm saying? Let's just keep going here. This course is probably not the best for this kind of thing, but it is wide. It has some gradual corners, and I still can't get it to do anything. Oh my goodness. Almost had it there for a second. Almost had it. Okay, the engine keeps shutting off because I'm driving in third gear half the time here. Now, one of the things that I'm still pretty confused about in terms of this stuff is how should I be tuning my car? Like, obviously we want enough power to be able to spin the wheels in any gear, essentially, to make things easier for that. But how do I need to tune in terms of spacing? Like, do I need a lot of down low? Obviously we don't get up to too high of a speed, right? So that doesn't particularly matter. I'm assuming that drift cars are geared specifically so that they can drift, is what I'm trying to say. And this car just has a generic tune on it. And obviously having a generic thing on it just means it's going to be harder to do the thing that I'm trying to do with it, because that's just not what it's made for. Although, I mean, my intentions are one thing and my execution is another. See, if this car wasn't so wheel spin happy, basically I just need to give it much, much wider back wheels. And obviously stickier tires would definitely help, but it is an absolutely ridiculously quick road car. Just way, way too spinny. But maybe that's the point for this. So giving myself a little bit more room to just kind of flail around a little bit and see what happens. I still kind of just end up doing donuts. I'm thinking third might be the gear for this, although second is pretty good as well. I think we can pretty much spin the wheels in any gear with this car. Like, it doesn't need any help with that. It's more just keeping control. So I'm also going too fast as well, and I'm doing way too much throttle. I shouldn't be doing this much. I actually think that part of the issue might just be lack of rear grip. Maybe the tire choice was a bad one. Lack of rear grip and just not able to control the car in a general sense. That's what I'm feeling. I don't know if that's right. It might also be the camber. I probably put too much on the back, so let me fix that. Okay, camber on the back is fixed, and camber on the front remains the same. Let's see if that makes any difference. Actually, a little bit of difference. Like, I definitely have more controllability and more grip, which is cool, but it's just not... Yeah, I'm gonna have to practice with this more and just kind of see. We can definitely do some absolutely mad donuts, though. That's what this car was made for, apparently. Get me in an Australian burnout competition. So one of the things that's sort of in my head about this stuff is I want to be able to be doing donuts like I was just doing, where I'm basically out of control like that in second gear, let's say, and then I can turn my way out of it. Like that would be considered successful to me in this way. So my foot is hammered, I'm still spinning, but I can turn my way out of it. Not quite with this car. I do eventually get there, especially if you tap the throttle. Then you can almost get a touch of control. Oh yeah, you'll notice if we go into this view, the wing actually has collision on it. That's one of the new things I believe in the latest update for automation. Your fixtures can be tied to the body for collision purposes, which is just extremely cool. Love these new updates. Boys, what do you think? I'm thinking my career in drifting is taking a very, very deep nosedive, but I gotta master at least one of these games. BeamNG might be the one. Drift CE was maybe not the best choice, so I'm gonna try and do it in a game I'm at least a little bit more familiar with, and I definitely need your help. So comment below with any ideas you have on how to train myself for this. If you have any tuning tips or whatever, let me know. I guess let's just do a quick comparison. Like you've seen this car. What's it like to drift in a beamng ready one? Something from here. First thing I can think of is 200BX. We got drift right here. Let's do it. So this car doesn't feel particularly powerful, but it probably... Oh my goodness, yeah, that's like 4,000,000% easier to control. Still spinny, but that's what you would expect from a drift car. I might actually be able to drift this one. Yeah, I can actually drift this car. See, this is the difference a good quality tune can make. Oh man, okay, maybe I should be practicing with these instead of with whatever junk I'm making. Yeah, we'll see. Next time though, beamng drifting is going to be a lot of fun, and there will be a lot and a lot of wheel spin. Probably a few pop tires too, but I'm looking forward to it. See you guys again soon, after I smash into this tree. Yes, now it's a drift car. Just want to give a special shout out to those who have chosen to support this channel via the join button, also those via Patreon. I appreciate you guys a lot. But specifically, and we'll go by total time on this level, Overlord, J Pope, Davis Heister, Goofy Plays, Phoenix Shark, Baja Blast, Mancini Country, Shadow Jasper, and I Look Valheimo. Thank you everybody for watching. Yeah, it's been a while since I've read out the names. Basically, the whole point of it is for the main sort of automation videos, and then the other stuff is kind of side content. But yeah, more stuff coming up this year. Very, very busy, but I'm excited to continue to make videos. So thank you, everybody. See you again soon.